What up, nerds? I'm the Matt.
I'm Waldo. We're still driving all through Texas right now.
A week later, and we're still lost.
Yeah. No, we ain't lost. We know where we're at. We just didn't go back.
That's what you immediately made me a liar. I was like, this is going to be our longest video ever. It's now one of our shortest.
I'll tell you what. At the end of the month, when all these come out, I'll put an omnibus out and I'll
Put it
scan
all
it.
together.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that way, all the timelining here will make sense.
Yeah.
So as you know in the last video, I'm driving, which is why you don't see me.
I'm riding, which is why you see me.
That's where he always sits.
Yep. I am hanging out the passenger side of my best friend's ride, trying to holler at you.
Yeah.
Scrub.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, in the last.
It's cool to be a scrub now, I think.
Shut up.
Says
Is it?
gas.
Is
I
it?
said gas.
Oh yeah. Okay. Insurance
I got money
guy.
for extra chicken wings.
Conversation from earlier.
Yeah.
So in the last video, we talked about tag teams,
Our greatest tag team list of all time.
and also we passed by the Popo, who were very confused why we slowed down like we were supposed to.
Yeah, why are these guys obeying the law? What's wrong with them? There was also a brief mention of Bucky's.
Yeah, that's where we started the last video off at.
Yeah. So what do we have on tap for tonight? Or it's still today, but
Yeah, it's tonight, today, this week.
whenever this video drops, what are we talking about now? Like I said, we discussed greatest. Let's get in a heated debate because
All
we've
right.
had this debate ourselves. We did greatest, not best, or not favorite, but greatest. Let's go greatest wrestlers. Top 5. Who are your? We know your top 5.
Right.
Was that your personal? That was your personal favorite, though.
That was my personal favorite.
Who do you think are actually the 5 best wrestlers of all time?
Now, before we get too deep into this, let's discuss what's the criteria.
For us? Okay.
Yeah, for us, we have to have a criteria because I can, right off the bat, say Mayu is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. For me.
But for one, I'm gonna make that my first rule. If you have to throw in for me, it can't be on the list.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. It's
Yeah.
like we need to establish ground rules here
Yeah.
because, like we talked about with the tag teams,
Yeah.
the whole longevity thing
Yeah.
and the whole.
I think with greatest wrestlers, because I know who a lot of people. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think longevity always has to be in factor.
Yep.
So you're not gonna see a Stone Cold Steve Austin on my list. Not because I'm anti Stone Cold. I just don't think he had the longevity in the business to be considered one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Well, he had longevity in business. Let's not take that away from him.
At the level that he needed it
But
to
that's
be
the
to be
thing. It's like he
considered
didn't
the
have
greatest.
longevity as Steve Austin. He had longevity
Yes.
as, well, he
He
had
had-
he didn't at the top. I mean, he didn't have longevity as Stone Cold.
He had 5 impactful years at best.
Right. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
But, and to his and everybody else's credit, because we don't want to sound like we're trying to take away from him.
Not at all. Number 1 merch seller of all time for a reason.
But the fact that they
Let's
were
just
able.
point this out real quick. We lived through the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah.
We went to a small town in East Texas high school.
Yep.
How many people did you see with Austin 316 shirts until they got banned?
Oh yeah.
That weren't wrestling fans. It was a global phenomenon. Continue.
I was one of those that got back.
Yeah.
For a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah.
But they squeezed every bit out of that 5 years and made it feel like 10, 15, 20. So kudos to them for being able to achieve so much in relatively short amount of time. So longevity's one.
Longevity's one. I'm going to throw in the next criteria. Post-wrestling career. Not I retire, I come back, I retire, I come back. Post-wrestling career.
Forever.
Does not count.
God bless Terry Funk.
Love Terry Funk. Post-wrestling career does not count. So someone like, I'm going to give another example here, The Rock, who is now like probably the most known person on the planet. Everything he's done since leaving the Fed does not count towards his greatest wrestling status.
Then let's clarify that rule just a little bit further.
Okay.
What would you say about Rich Tires? Because he retired from wrestling.
Yeah, his commentator
eons
stuff.
ago.
Commentator stuff wouldn't count towards it.
Okay, because he's still in wrestling,
It's still very relevant.
but his commentary does count.
Does not count.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Not towards greatest wrestler of all time.
Okay.
Greatest wrestling personality, maybe, but not greatest wrestler.
We're not willing
I'm
to.
saying on whether it would count.
Face4Wrestling does not support the commentary
I love
one
Taz.
Matt.
I love Taz. I love Taz. I think he's an underrated gem.
For all the wrong reasons.
So for the right reasons. Taz and Michael Cole on SmackDown was actually really good.
No, I'm not arguing that, but that's also like the best/worst moments of JBL.
Great commentary. But his also does not count towards his in-ring career. APA was another one that was big on our list, by the way.
Yeah, the reason that we did not keep APA on the list is because the longevity thing. And they missed the cut when it came to the Holland Nash rule, the outsider rule.
Yeah.
Because Ron Simmons, when APA was done, he's like, I'm just
Ron Simmons was big beforehand.
I'm going to damn my way back to the house.
And then JPO, yeah. So, longevity. Wrestling ring impact is all that counts.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to come up in our discussions. So I'm just going to put it this way. They have to have either had a high national impact or a high global impact.
Why either one? Because global is bigger than national. Last I checked.
But someone who's not going to be on my list but could be considered for somebody's list, Bruno Sammartino did not have a chance to have a global impact.
Ooh, there's a lot of people that argue with you on that. I get what you're saying. His global impact came later, though.
Yes, that's what I mean.
So
in his prime, the best he could hope for was a national impact. Or a Luthez. The best he could hope for at the time was a national impact.
I get what you're saying.
So I don't want to just say, Luthez they only like, or Kevin Sullivan, they only liked him in Florida. But who else is, I'm trying to throw somebody else I know who's not going to be on either person's list. But Santino Marella was known globally.
You're right. I got you.
You wouldn't put Santino above Kevin Sullivan just because he didn't have the chance to be on a global scale.
Understood.
Got it?
And Sullivan did eventually get national.
Yeah. But he was still more known in Florida than he was anywhere else.
Right. That was Dusty his entire career, and he was still known globally.
So do you want to throw a name out there? Or do you have another standard to hold?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to put people on the list that are, I'm going to call this the Brawler rule.
Okay.
Brooklyn Brawler. People know who he is. He's been around a long time. Wrestled forever.
Okay. I got you.
And we're talking, like, I hate using this term because we're not wrestlers. I will occasionally refer to a carpenter, you know what I'm saying, right? As one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
I stick by that. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then poo-poo on you.
Poo-poo at you.
But the Brawler rule specifically would be if you're an intern or an apprentice to the...
I got you.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Okay. If y'all at home are playing along, y'all get what I'm saying, good. I don't want to explain that any further.
So do you want to throw one of the people from your list out there?
Well, I'm already going to start off with Taker.
You're starting off with Taker.
Because globally recognized.
Okay. Now, this is not necessarily your number one. This is just in your top 5.
Yeah, just top 5.
Okay. So before we even go further, Taker's in my top 5.
Okay.
We both agree on that.
Globally recognized.
Yes.
High rate of work.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact of his size.
I would say a good body of work, not necessarily a high rate of work.
That's a better word.
Yeah.
Consistent through all the years. Was at that high level for a long time.
Yeah.
And his high level really didn't start past 97 when Mick Foley showed up.
I can see why you would say that, but I think he had some high profile stuff before that.
He did.
97 is when it became consistent.
Right. He did. He totally did have some stuff before that.
Yeah.
There was
there's Hogan,
John Gonzalez.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, but like he started off fighting Hogan.
Right. And
playing around with Flair. Like he started off on a high profile.
He did stuff with Jake Roberts.
Jake Roberts, yeah.
Warrior. So off the bat, they knew he was going to be big, and they worked him with everybody they could. But he wasn't their at that top yet.
96, 97 is when it became consistent. Mankind helped kick that off.
Kane.
But even before Kane, though, I remember, and they were small micro feuds, him and Austin having good stuff. Him and Hart having good stuff. Like, people remember the later stuff.
I think that was interspersed, spread out through the Mick Foley stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
him
like...
and Michaels. Come on.
That was later.
No. Before Kane showed up. Right before Kane showed up, it was...
Oh, you're talking about leading into the Hell in a Cell.
I won $5 off of you because you voted for Taker and I voted for Michaels.
Yeah, no, I got you. Who would you pick next?
Okay, so we both agree on Taker. So that's Taker on both of our top fives. I'm going to piggyback off of yours and throw my most controversial one out there real quick just to get it out of the way.
Ronnie Garvin.
No. Chris Jericho. I think he's one of the best people on the mic. I think, going back to what you said, longevity, about the same time, early 2000, he's still in the main event scene 22 years later. He's always worked at a high level. He's got a good body of work to look back on. He's, because of stuff outside of wrestling while still wrestling, such as Robo Wars, Dancing with the Stars, all these other stuff he's been a part of, movies. He's in the Kevin Smith movie. He's done enough stuff to be globally recognized, and he's been doing it for so long that I think not putting him in a top 5 list is insane.
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's yours?
I'm not even going to acknowledge the Jericho stuff yet.
You don't even want to go against.
Yeah, I got it. Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. So Ric
now,
Flair.
This one is kind of like he bends the rules and then comes back, and
he's also kind of why I made the national rule.
Right, and he's a weird anomaly in all these rules for us. We talked about this a little bit yesterday before we did this trip. Flair has seemed to found his little nook in history to where he blends the territory and the national stage.
Yeah.
Whereas Brother Hogan was always national, even if the Fed was still starting off with WrestleMania. Yeah. So it was very strange. Like, the Fed was never a territory when Hogan was in it.
Yeah. But it wasn't national until he helped get it there.
So Flair is kind of like the bridging of the gap, if you will.
Yeah. He was kind of the old guard's last hope to keep the territories around. Honestly.
That's a conversation for a different time.
Yeah.
But that's Flair, for that reason, the amount of time that he did it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking the recent stuff.
We just read his last match, you know.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the recent stuff. I'm not talking about the... I would even say...
Fair to say, throwing a little bit of inside baseball, you consider End of Flair 96. Kind of for your consideration. 96.
That's what I was going with. I consider Flair's run to be done for me as an active full-time wrestler about 96, 97.
And this is where it's crazy because you have 2 people on your list. I have 2 people on my list. I'm also throwing Flair in my top 5, so I now have 3 people on my list. Because even though you're cutting him off at 96, I think that's impressive that he started wrestling in, the 70s?
That's what I was saying, is that
you
he
cut
started...
him off at 96, he still had 20 years, and I'm even considering the 20 years after that as part of his legacy that I didn't think was that bad. You got to have Flair in your top 5.
Do we want to go into why I'm saying it was bad, not bad?
No.
Because I'm saying overall, he had a phenomenal career, including past 97.
Well,
I just had an issue with...
We'll just say that WCW had some downsides and leave it at that, so we don't get too negative.
Right, but I've always... I told this to Matt yesterday. I felt like that if there was ever a chance to do a comic book for wrestling, there should be a what-if series that should include, like, what if WCW did better in 97?
Yeah.
And then where would Flair be at from there?
Yeah. We'll cut it there.
Okay.
We're going to not be negative.
Okay.
So since I have 3 and you have 2, you get to go ahead and name another one.
I'm going to go off on and mention one that I didn't mention the other day.
Okay.
Macho Man.
That's a good number 3.
Even though he didn't have as long as career as all the others that we've named over time.
Yeah.
And he had a very untimely passing,
Yeah.
but he was already retired.
Yeah.
He wrestled for a long time and was not Ric Flair on the territories,
And unfortunately not Hogan in the Fed.
but he was a Macho Man in the Fed
Yeah.
and in WCW.
Yeah.
And he got to a point to where everybody knew who he was with the Slim Jim commercials, with the Spider-Man movie,
His rap album.
his rap album.
I'm being honest. Check out his rap album. It's not bad. I listen to it at least once a week.
He had an amazing promo. His promo, no matter what he was talking about, fell right in the middle between Flair and Dusty talking about hard times, and Ultimate Warrior talking about spaceships from Endor, flying into the oceans of whatever that band was we saw last night in Egypt.
Oh. Algypt. What were they called? Anyways, y'all should check out this band. I can't remember. Look for the elf and his 2 female companions. If you find them, you'll know what we're talking about.
They're hanging out in Egypt after having taken their time machine from
And
Atlantis
a song about Atlantis.
through the 5th parallel dimension
It was
into
weird.
the pyramids.
I think Macho's a good choice. I don't think I can put Macho on my top 5 list, though, unfortunately. I think...
Phenomenal wrestler, had a lot of championships.
Yeah. I think not necessarily his fault, but I think there were so many starts and stops with his career that I couldn't put him at the top, for me.
And I'm counting, well, you say, I totally understand what you're talking about, but there was no start and stop for me. Once he got to the Fed and when he ended up in, I think it was 99 or 2000,
Yeah.
that was his first stop.
No, because you got to count in the time he spent on commentating. You got to take
He was
the
still
time,
on and off here and
You
there.
got to take the time that, like, he would go and do a show or whatever. Like, it just never really...
That's almost any
Or Hogan
wrestler.
decided he wanted to work that weekend, so
Oh,
Macho
yeah,
couldn't.
stay away, stay away.
Yeah. Sorry. So far you have Undertaker, which I have Undertaker, Flair, which I have Flair, Macho, and I have Jericho.
See, I got 3 good ones and you got 2.
No negativity. All right, so we're tied 3-3. All right, who's your number 4?
No, you go next.
You want me to go next?
Yes.
Number 4, for me, that meets all of the criteria that we have laid forth of greatest of all time, not favorite. I might do another controversial one.
Okay.
Should I do controversial?
Sure.
Kevin Nash. I
At
think
the
he
top,
had-
really?
in the top 5, I think so.
No, I'm talking about at the top of the wrestling.
I think so.
Okay.
Kevin Nash / Diesel. He was the champion everywhere he went. You can't deny his impact on the business. Guaranteed, you can't deny his impact on the business. See what I did there?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
He's super shredder. Come on. He did that while wrestling. That counts.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'll give you another movie, but not that one. The reason is because he wore a mask and nobody could tell.
Okay. He was the Russian in the Punisher movie.
There you go.
I think listening to him talk, he understood the business. I think he did. I think if he had been a little less selfish, more people would have him higher up on their list. But I think his impact, with the help of others,
I will say this and not be negative on it.
Uh-huh.
And that is, he managed as a businessman
yeah,
to find a way to get the most out of something with making it beneficial to him more than what he was giving into it. If that makes
he
sense.
brought business to the wrestling business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be the best way to say
Yeah,
it.
and I think he did that, and combine that with his in-ring ability, which wasn't bad. His promo, which was actually fairly
Was it
decent.
the 3 moves of Nash.
Yeah. But that's all he needed.
Right.
That's
I
all
know.
he
I
needed.
know.
The hair flip was number 4. I think he did a lot that he doesn't get credit for. I'm going to put Nash as my number 4 on the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Okay. I'm going to have to think about this for a second because you kind of threw me for a loop there with him.
It popped into my head and I could not deny it to myself.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
And you may be asking yourself out there in TV land through the video scope, why haven't we named some other people like Hogan? Well, yes, because of the controversy that comes with that. But believe it or not, I've never really been a Hogan fan. And Matt knows this about me.
Same. I'm in the same boat.
Like every time he graced that red yellow graced the TV, I was like,
yeah, same boat.
Yeah, here he comes again. He won't go away. He's gonna go out there like Jericho and talk 30 minutes.
All right, stop. You're back on the negative train. Pull the brake.
I will never forgive you about that, Jericho.
Pull the brake.
The reason it's taking me a little bit is because I'm thinking, is there somebody in the modern era, post-internet, well, you actually make a very good argument there. So, you want to make that your number 5, or? Because if you do, I'm going to share it with you.
No, because I have a number 5.
I'm actually going to call that one. That's a great argument.
I can't argue.
Somebody who came in, took a little bit to figure it out, didn't take long to figure it out, and then has done phenomenal work as in the ring to the ability that he could do a leg drop. Mm-hmm. But he ran good matches. He ran with the top title for however long it was. Mm-hmm. He brought prominence back to lower tier titles that have been kind of stagnant for a little bit.
Yep.
And let's not forget the amount of work that he's done with Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
I've always been a big advocate of, and I'm not going down the negativity rabbit hole. I'm just going to beat around the bush on it. If you have somebody that's your champion that is always doing charity work and bringing good fortune to those that really deserve it, why would it not be in the best interest of the organization overall that has the title on that person to begin with to move them into a position where they can do it even more? Because you promote that wrestler more, right? And put them in a more prominent stage, all they're going to do is just give back more, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Am I just speaking in tongues here?
You're done. Time up. So your number 4 is John Cena.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that. And if this person had not stopped into my brain right before we started talking about John Cena, I would have joined you with John Cena.
Okay.
I don't think it's controversial as Jericho and Nash were. My number 5 is, it's Sting. Sting from NWA up to Crow Sting carried the way for little boys and girls.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'm gonna disagree.
Surfer Sting carried little boys and girls through the 90s to about 96 when Crow Sting popped up.
Yep.
And helped us teenagers embrace the darker sides of ourselves.
Yeah.
He then decided selflessly to go to TNA and give you something actually worth watching on TNA.
That's enough.
I think he worked at a very high level in TNA. I think he helped make a lot of stars in TNA. His feuds with people like AJ Styles.
There is a brief period of time in TNA that we both want to forget.
I'm not discussing that yet. I think he did big business for TNA, the best that they have. Like, he is their number 1 draw of all time, probably.
I will say with you, and this is another thing too, going back to why Hogan's not on our list or anything like that. Hogan was brought into TNA, Impact, TNA, whatever you want to call it, thinking that he was going to be the one to move the needle on that. And it wasn't him. It was everybody that was there as their core that had weathered out the storm, and then bringing in people like Sting to help build them up even more, and building that core there. Now, what they did with that later on is for a different tale. Yeah.
I think his very brief run in the Fed, people were very happy for it. It did move some needles. And I think his run now in AEW, especially considering how limited he is through injury, not ability.
Right.
He's doing the best work he can do in the position that he's in.
I will agree with that. I think, though, that if this were to be tested against the criteria that we put out,
Okay.
it might have a fallacy in it.
Okay.
And that's because there are gaps in here in Sting's timeline. And also, you said at the beginning that he was on top of the NWA.
Yeah.
No.
Top of the card, not the number one draw.
No.
I did not mean his number one draw.
Still no.
He was in the main event. He was a main event level talent in NWA.
That is correct. That statement is correct.
That's being at the top for me.
No, hold on.
That's what I mean by being at the top.
Okay. He was not in the main event until the feud with the Horsemen.
Yeah.
Up until that point, he was floating around the top, but not in
That's
it
what
yet.
I mean. He was main event level.
He was like right in that layer of soda where it was still liquid and right before the bubbles.
Yeah.
But, yeah, operating at that main level,
No, I'm sticking with it.
yeah, operating at the main level, I'm with you. But I just want to clarify, you do know he was not in the main event until Flair.
I consider this the same thing as, like, I'm trying to think of a modern day equivalency.
There's a few people I know who you're talking about. He's like,
Kevin Owens.
yeah,
He's at the top of the card, but he's not the face of the company.
yeah,
That's what I mean.
totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one more.
You've got one more.
I'm still thinking.
I wasn't expecting Sting to bring controversy.
No, it's not that. I support that. You know that. Because Surfer Sting was my man.
Yeah. We were exactly the right age for every progression of Sting.
Right.
Up until...
Look at my birds.
We aged out a little bit at that point.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
I just remember, this is where you and I deviate.
Yeah.
Is the very early days of us watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Because you watched what you were able to.
Yes.
I watched damn near everything.
Yes.
So I was aware of NWA stuff.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. You need to clarify what you're saying because I remember watching.
I've gone back and rewatched a lot of the NWA stuff.
Since, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about from actually going through it. Yeah, that's where our difference is.
One of my favorite not promos, but
Also,
video hype packages of all time is the Sting Barry Windham Desire package from Clash of the Champions 80.
I know what you're talking about.
88, 89.
Also, you just made me remember something that makes me want to not put him in the list.
We're not trying to debate why my people shouldn't be in the list. Give me the fifth person for your list.
RoboCut.
Not his fault.
Not JR's fault either.
No.
I wonder, I would love to be able to fly on
We're
the wall.
doing that. I'm taking Road Warriors off of yours because they had a puppet. Yeah.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when JR is talking to, who was it? Was it was the Pizza Hut guy. The Booker.
Oh,
The-
yeah.
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 It was like before Bill Watts?
Yeah.
No, it was after Bill Watts. Yeah, it was after Bill Watts.
In between him and her.
Jim Hurt. Jim Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
It was Jim Hurt.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to fly on the wall with that conversation with her and be like, y'all, I'm not saying that. But I also get the cross-promotional stuff too, so that never really bothered me so much. It's just the way that they did it.
We're about to hit 30 minutes. Give us your number 5.
Okay. I'm thinking. I got one.
Gotcha.
And I'm using your Sting
That's fine.
criteria to justify this.
Okay.
Even though I think that she still has a long time left, however long she wants, I think the Thunder Rosa matches the criteria that you laid out. Hear me out. She's been wrestling for a long time.
No, she hasn't.
Well, for us, more than 5 years is a long time. Anyway,
you're making me not like Thunder Rosa at the moment, and I didn't think that was possible.
What?
She's not in the top 5. I'm sorry. Hate me, internet. I love Thunder Rosa. I think she's one of the best current workers out there, from in camera and behind camera. Period. I couldn't give her an of all time, but continue. I don't want to steamroll.
Because I think, not from a national side, I think she's better known globally. And I say that because of programs like the one that was in California, Stardom, WOW, NWA. I think she's better known globally than she is nationally. The quality of work, the amount of stuff that she's doing while she's champion, like we said with with the Make-A-Wish and stuff like that. Like, if you take a look at all the other champions across the table right now, she's the one that's out there doing the most work with the kids than any of the other ones. That's my argument. I'm sticking to it.
Titus O'Neil would have disagreement with you, but
has not been at that high level.
Again, I don't want to be negative. I just don't think I don't think she has the longevity factor at all.
Is there something you know that I don't?
She's only been wrestling for like not that long.
Okay.
Everybody else we've named has had over 20 plus years.
Do you want me to name somebody else?
No, that is your list. It is your list, and you're allowed your list.
Good, because I didn't have anybody else, because that's what I'm sticking with.
I want to give that honorable mention because it popped into my head, and I think.
Oh, I got tons of honorable mentions.
And I think this person.
See, look, that deer was asking for it. That's why I got the brush guard on the front of the truck. I'm gonna squash that deer tonight.
I think this person deserves a look for top 5 greatest of all time.
Okay.
Kurt Angle.
If most unfortunate.
If you take away some side issues.
If you take away the injuries and
some side issues.
Right.
I think Kurt Angle deserves to be in anybody's top 5.
Seems like he would be a blast to hang out with too.
Oh yeah.
I do have to give a tip of the hat to him as far as putting up with stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff that came up and stuff that he's done, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But that man did it with a smile and went on like a trooper. So, kudos to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, can't complain about his wrestling. He got a gold medal in it. Can't complain about the number of people that knew him. Everybody in the world knows him.
Yeah.
I would argue the longevity.
I think you're arguing longevity because you don't watch TNA.
That is, I'm not. It's not a slight against them.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't mean that as implying you. That's why also I think
the world is going on tonight.
I don't know. I think that's another thing. I think I'm able to look at it and go,
wait, I think that's just a wide load.
He did the biggest thing for him, and Sting were the big things for TNA for an extended period of time. And
wait, he was there for my favorite promo. You fat.
Yeah. No, not your fat, but Steiner mouth.
No,
he was there for your fat, but that had nothing to do with him. He was there for Steiner mouth, which did have something to do with him.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but you were here longer than I was in Texas.
Yeah.
I had to go away and get exiled for here and there and everywhere and stuff like that over time.
Mongrovian karate.
Right.
Sorry, karate.
Karate.
There you go.
Oh wait, karate. TNA just never, Impact, whatever you want to call it, just never came on wherever I was at. I barely caught Fed in a lot of those places.
In this note, and we're not going to super discuss, under those two rules, AJ Styles has got to be considered as well.
I'll allow that.
I wouldn't be mad at someone having
Because
AJ Styles
now-
in their top 5.
Now, I will say this about him. I didn't watch a lot of TNA or Impact,
Yeah.
but he was one person that whenever I caught online, I would make it a point to go catch up on him.
We were also there when he almost won the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championships.
We were.
Yeah, he was on the last Impact. Air Styles and Air Paris versus Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio for the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championships.
Oh, yeah. Those belts are still floating around somewhere.
Somewhere.
We'll find them one day.
I think AJ deserves a shout out, and I wouldn't be mad at him being on anybody's list. Obviously, all those names we disqualified beforehand, they deserve to be on people's list. Stone Cold, Rock,
Oh, yeah.
Bruno Sammartino,
Pedro Morales, Luthez,
Gotch, Thez,
Simon.
Simon.
No,
Simon Miller?
no.
He's not the greatest yet, but you can catch him on August 20th.
San Antonio, Texas. Mitch Pro Wrestling presents Hard Days Nights, where Face4Wrestling is a proud sponsor of Simon Miller and the raffle that Face4Wrestling is working with for helping them kids.
Go watch the last episode.
Go watch the last
We'll explain
episode. We'll put a
everything.
link up here or somewhere like that, down in the bottom somewhere on his beard.
So let's go ahead and end this one now because that was a good segue. And we're at like 36 minutes. And we'll be back in 5 minutes / 1 week.
Yeah. Well,
to come up with
no,
another
20.
to come up with another topic of
wait.
us wanting to make each other matter.
Join us in the next episode where I'm finally going to go negative on Face4Wrestling and tear into Jericho.
It's not happening.
Don't forget, everyone is different and everyone is good.